You talked about how you were happy that this year they included a panel specifically about polling.
Yes.
Can you talk about why you were why that was important?
I think polling is always important. You can ask the question why we poll, and it's a really simple answer. I think it's important that you always try to flavor your opinion with a little bit of data. And so what these folks here on the panel did today is not just talk about why polling is important, but more to the point for us and those who are consumers of polls, and I think there's an increasing number of people who do that. We really want to know how to get the most out of the polling, how we understand what it is that we're seeing, how we interpret it properly. And for those of us who are very interested in politics, I think that polling can add a tremendous amount of solid information to the opinion. We'll just look back in years past when George Bush was declared a popular president, but polls said maybe not so. When Iraq War was declared to be popular, and the polls said, well, maybe that's not completely true, and so on and so forth. So I think that there's examples of where knowing the polls really helps in terms of trying to interpret what you're seeing around you, which many of us try to do.
And how's the sort of nature of polling changed, especially since like 2004 or 2000? How has it changed since then?
Well, there's a lot more polling. There's more tendency, I think, on some media outlets to talk about their own polls and ignore the others, but there's aggregator sites like pollster.com or 538.com that tend to look at all the polls together, which I think is a much stronger way. Real Clear Politics is another site that does this. And so I think what we've learned over the past only 3, 4, 5 years is that it's better to look at all the polls together and not just cherry pick and look at the one that seems to fit what you already thought.
Great. And then the last question, there's one message you wanted people to take away from this panel today. What would that be?
Look at all the polls and really fight and argue for transparency. We're the consumers of these polls, and I think that it helps everybody for folks to publish as much data as they can and make themselves available for questions.
Great. Well, thank you very much.